Now, ever since Tyler the Creator's new interview with Maverick Carter hit the internet, the conversation in hip hop has shifted because of Tyler's comments that called out a lot of the horrible stuff going on in today's hip hop world and music industry as a whole. And at the front of all this were, of course, his comments about Ian, as Tyler seemed to be alluding to specifically him when citing the rappers who have currently contributed to the problems in hip hop. And now, ever since all this, some people have been praising Tyler for speaking his mind and seemingly standing against some of the half-baked products the industry has been trying to sell us. Meanwhile, a lot of other people have argued that Tyler the Creator is now old and out of touch, and he is now pretty much hating on younger artists for doing something very similar to what he did when he was coming up. And now, in the storm of all of this, before the dust could really even settle, we have heard from the guy who has been at the center of all this conversation because of Tyler the Creator in Ian, as after there has been so much debate on the nature of his music and if he should even be respected in the hip-hop world. Ian seemingly responded to Tyler and all of his criticism, but not in the way you would expect, because he didn't address these comments or any of the controversy he has been thrown into head-on. But instead, he just continued doing what he has been, which was to give the world more music, as he just dropped a new song on social media called Shut Down. And now with this track and move from Ian, I think from the optics of it, with all the controversy and narratives being pushed around him treating hip-hop and the very culture the genre has been founded on as a joke, getting right into the booth and having a new song ready with some visuals to accompany it on one level could definitely speak volumes to helping your cause when it comes to really being serious and dedicated as a rapper. But with all this said, when it comes to the actual track, the song itself has done nothing to make this moment any better for Ian, because despite just turning to the mic and hoping that the power and merit of his music would show the entire world that he is a serious rapper who should be treated as a part of the genre's future, Ian made one of the most basic and generic sounding tracks that any rapper in his lane could have. But as Ian's response to this moment has gotten so much hate and has seemed to only make Tyler the Creator look even more correct about this entire situation, and some of the lyrics on this song seemingly allude to the fact that he is up next and that Tyler or anybody hating on him are just not with the times and are simply trying to hold him back because they can't accept that the music industry and trends in rap music right now have progressed from where they were years ago, and that the people against him are becoming old news. All of this has made Ian not just look bad, but pretty embarrassing, because in this time where everyone is looking at this artist who has had such a mysterious rise to fame in the music industry and questioning why they have been able to build so much hype around them, he dropped a response track to all this criticism that, for all intensive purposes, reinforces all the points made against him right now, as this track just sounds like a stripped down version of the sonic world that somebody like Yeat played in throughout the earlier part of the 2020s decade. But now, with all that said, this entire story and controversy does not stop with Ian, his response to Tyler the Creator, or all of the drama he has been facing, because while it may be easy to look at Ian and his music and just write him off, in the greater sense, this doesn't really accomplish anything for hip-hop as an art form, or for Tyler the Creator's actual cause for these comments, which was to say that hip-hop needs to start getting back to caring about the actual craft and away from all the gimmicks, because at the end of the day, before we can ever look at Ian and try to write him off on any level, don't you think it's important to question why somebody like him hasn't just rose to the place he is at, but more specifically has been hyped up by the music industry and media as one of its most pivotal players? I mean, why as a music industry has somebody that from the cover of his debut mixtape literally made a recreation of one of the most iconic memes out there, to his viral moments, which pretty much consist of him recreating other viral moments like Lil Yachty's concert walkout, entered such a high stratosphere in the hip-hop spotlight? Because in years past, rappers like these who didn't take things as serious were always casted in their own corner, but this is not the case at all anymore. While we don't know the exact reason why this is happening behind the scenes and what conversations are going down to put something like what Ian is doing in front of our faces, if you look around the room in hip-hop and see that while Ian is getting all the hate for pretty much making full-on commercialized and industry-funded meme rap right now, this is a trend in practice that spans so much further than just what he is doing. And when you really break it down, the reason why Ian is getting so much hate and backlash is not because of the less serious form of rap he is making, because let's face it, throughout all the eras that hip-hop has been able to cultivate a presence on the internet, there have always been people who parody the genre or don't take it as seriously, but instead, why Ian is getting so much hate is because the music industry has propped him up as so much more than he ever was supposed to be, and this is where the real problem unfolds, and this is the angle and takeaway this situation needs to be looked at from, because if Ian falls off after this, it'll virtually do nothing. He'll just be replaced by the next avatar. But with the music industry right now, what they are doing with most of these new rappers is trying to take a half-baked and underdeveloped product and pass it off to us as something so much greater. And as for all intensive purposes, Meme rappers like Ian and even someone like Ice Spice are being propped up and hyped within the hip hop world more and more as these greater forces that should have these major headlining stories and publications about how they are spearheading the future of music. I mean, the audience is not dumb, and everybody is starting to realize that this is the image they are trying to sell us. And at the end of the day, this is the reality that's causing fans and rappers like Tyler to become more livid, because for the first time ever on the level we are seeing things at, the music industry is pretty much trying to take what is the hip-hop equivalent of fast food and force it down fans' throats as a 5-star meal. And as we are all recognizing that with rappers like Ice Spice, Ian, Jack Harlow, Lil Mabu, Sexy Red, and so many more, that the actual product just does not line up with where the industry is trying to say they are at. It is creating this disconnect with what is actually sacred to both fans and artists alike, and as a result of all this, we are now seeing moments like the one we are living in right now, where most fans have turned against artists like Ian and Ice Spice and have rightfully called them out for being rappers who, at the bare minimum, are making some of the most lazy and least innovative music out there right now, and in a vacuum. These artists existing is absolutely fine, and if they were reserved to being treated as less serious artists whose only purpose was to mindlessly entertain and not offer anything else, they would probably be embraced by most people, or at least respected. When they are getting nominated for Grammys, seen linking up with the biggest rappers in the world in a way that almost seems set up, and then being pushed as these forces that only greats in decades past were, despite the actual music they are putting out being so lacking in any sort of sign of quality or potential that would actually inspire audiences. At this point, as Tyler is waking audiences up to all of this, people have fully realized this, not just through Tyler's words, but through Ian's laughable response. But now within this moment in time, no matter what you're thinking, I think we can all tell that something is off in the music industry. But now, the next steps have to be for listeners to not attack Ian, but to actually hold the music industry and record labels accountable for trying to deceive us into listening to this low bar of artists as our primary players for the future of rap, as opposed to developing real talent and then thinking that we will be behind whatever ridiculous things they do, just because they are telling us we should love all these people. If we can end this trend or speak out against the music industry feeding us these low quality, cheaply produced garbage artists instead of helping the world discover quality new talent, who although require more resources to grow and develop, will ultimately be worth the return when they are actually able to reach some sort of creative breakthrough and become a genuine talent that can sell more than 30,000 copies of a record in its first week. So as it stands, with the way the music industry is going, the smoke and mirrors that they've been trying to trick us with are no longer working, and as people realize what is in front of them and see that the industry is making no effort whatsoever to invest in genuine talent, this is only going to push people further away from hip-hop, which is a horrible thing. So now with all this said, let me know. What do you think about Ian's response, and do you agree with my assessment of the greater problem with this entire situation, which is less about the artist and more about the industry setting this up to happen in the first place? I can't wait to hear what you have to say, and if you want to hear why Tyler the Creator actually called out every single new rapper like Ian specifically, but also so many more, as he really went into depth about what the problems in hip-hop are right now, check out the suggested video.